Alrighty, well, my new webcam. Oh, there it is. Now it just wants to show up. Okay, cool. My new webcam is was being a piece of shit for a second there. But we are here. Let me turn this music back on, but a little bit low. Have a little something in the background. We'll keep it about there. I believe that's low enough to maybe hear it faintly, but not overshadow me, of course. Anyway, welcome. Chandler's here. What's going on, Chandler? Hey, man. Yeah, I don't have a guest for today, unfortunately. The plan was to have either Fellow or one of my photographer buddies be on this podcast for episode 2, but couldn't get them. They're kind of busy this weekend. And actually, I had Sean, caster for Rocket League. He's busy this weekend as well as he's at Worlds, I believe, for Rocket League. So, couldn't get a guest for this week. You know, kind of sucks. I was going to just not stream, but I was like, screw it. Why not do another solo cast, a little bit shorter than last time. I'm not going to trauma dump like last time about my mental and physical health, but today just kind of talk about it in esports, kind of the journey in esports and kind of the behind the scenes of it, especially as a photographer or even like a social media guy. And I know as like a Discord person, Chandler, you might, even as a social person too, you might be able to relate to some of this stuff. But anyway, episode 2, press start to heal. You can find this on Twitch, obviously, where you're watching it. It's going to be on YouTube, the VOD afterwards, Media by KJM. All that stuff's right below me anyway. And then, of course, follow the Twitter, follow the TikTok, the Instagram, all of it, Media by KJM. So, makes it real easy for you guys. Anyway, we're just going to jump right in. I just wanted to first share, like, how I got into esports. I remember, obviously, always being a fan of gaming. Call of Duty is, like, my main game. Black Ops 1, Black Ops was my first Call of Duty I ever played. Not the first game I ever played, but the first Call of Duty for sure. And that's how I got into that franchise. This music got loud real quick. I'm turning this shit really low. Anyway. And, just from playing COD, playing with your friends and anything, that's how I got into the esports side of it. Game battles and doing tryouts. It's not that bad. Yeah, it was really loud in my ears for some reason. I turned it down a little bit because I just couldn't. I couldn't focus with that going on right now. I don't know what the songs are playing. I just have like some random ass non-copyright playlist in the background, so some weird stuff's going on. Yeah, doing tryouts on Ghost, and that's when I first started watching esports. And then I went to my first event. I was doing YouTube and Twitch at the time, like a little bit more seriously than I am now. Especially on YouTube, I was doing a lot of YouTube content, gameplays and commentaries and just loot crate. Is that what it was called? Loot crate unboxing. Just a lot of stuff on YouTube. A lot of random crap you'd see back in the earlier days of COD 2012, 2013, 14. So then I went to the event as a vlogger, and I was going to make content that way. And I did. But then I don't know what clicked. People always ask, like, oh, how'd you become a photographer? Like, I just turned that vlogging camera around onto, like, the players, and I was like, there's something to this. I'm pretty good at this. And it all just started from that. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, my first, like, big gig was, like, with Project Evil, like, that team back in the day. And I think that was IW. They had me for the Last Chance qualifier in Columbus, and then they brought me to Champs, which I think was also in Columbus. I don't know. I can't remember where that Champs was. Was Champs in Columbus? No, Champs was in Orlando. Champs was in Orlando that year. LCQ in Columbus, Champs in Orlando. And that team was like Fastballa, Profit, Glory, and Profizi. I think that was the team with coach like Flux. That was a while ago. But that was like my first like big break in esports, and they weren't a big org or anything like that. But I got to shoot alongside pro teams because obviously they'd play against them, so it's pretty cool. And yeah, I kind of just took off from there. Like Gen G got into, well, I should start over. Evil Geniuses. I don't know how I landed Evil Geniuses. That was like my first big organization. They had a Rainbow Six team going into Atlantic City, New Jersey. How the hell did I land that team? I got to figure that out. I guess I must have just emailed a bunch of teams and see if they needed photographers. But how I landed a big team like Evil Geniuses in a state that isn't my own, like they had to pay me to like for my flight, for my hotel and everything, as like a new photographer was I don't know how the hell I landed that gig. Looking back on it, but I did, and took terrible photos looking back on them, but they were good enough, I suppose. G2 hired me for a couple events, but those were in Chicago, so that one made sense to me. A lot of CS IEM events in Chicago. And then Gen G joined Call of Duty in Black Ops 4, and that was probably my big break, was Gen G. Literally tweeted out as a joke, like, oh, Gen G's in Call of Duty, I wonder if they're going to need a photographer, haha. And then hit them up, they hit me up, and I got to work. What was that? Got to work the Pro League qualifier when they were, well, with that team before they were Gen G, when that was like Straight Rippin', I believe. Was it Straight Rippin' or just Team Spacely? Something like that. Pro League qualifier. I got to work the Pro League for them. That was awesome. Like being in Columbus for like their matches for like a week. That was insane. Fort Worth, London. They flew me to fucking London. Like that was pretty crazy. I've never been out of the country, and then a team just says, "All right, here you go. Here's a flight to London. $1,200 probably. I don't know how much it cost, but that was crazy." But yeah, they didn't bring me on for Anaheim. They didn't bring me on for Champs that year, so that was kind of like where it fell off. And then, man, I fell off esports photography for a long time. And then moved into social media management, kind of. Like, I ran the COD Gamepedia page with Spoons. If you guys know that guy, then you know him. But I ran the COD Gamepedia page, and I ran the CDC update page pretty much during, like, Black Ops, Cold War, like, Pro League matches. Just tweeting out map count and, oh my god, this happened, that's crazy, clips, and, you know, random memes, just shit posting pretty much just to get engagements. And like I mentioned in my last episode of this podcast, that was a very bad time for the mentals, because I was basing my happiness and my worth off of how much likes a tweet got, and how, like, it was just terrible. If a tweet just failed, like, I'd be down about myself. I'd be like, ah, damn, you know, it sucks. But, like, I'd post something about Optic, get 1 million likes, and I'd be like, oh my god, like, I'm so crazy, I'm so good. It's such a bad time for that. So the social media thing wasn't really for me right then. And then my buddy Jarrell, he worked for the LA Thieves, and just randomly he's like, hey, they're going to the Pro-Am Vanguard year. They're going to the Pro-Am. It's in Columbus. It's in like 2 days. They need a photographer. They asked me if I knew anybody. Do you want to go? I was like, man, I'd have to call off work like with a day notice, and I'd have to drive to Columbus. But I was like, screw it, I will. And it was, I usually don't do impulse things like that, but man, it was the best thing I ever did. Holy shit. You know, because I got to work the Pro-Am. I mean, it's kind of history at this point. I got to work the Pro-Am, and they said, hey, let's just finish out the year together. Major 3 in Toronto. Major 4 in New York, where they won. That was the first time I covered a winning team. Up until that point, any team I covered just absolutely shit the sheets, and like was never good. I mean, Gen G was good, but they never won. So that was like the first time I covered a team that won. Major 4 in New York, in Brooklyn. First time in New York. Would never go back to Brooklyn, but first time in New York. And then of course Champs in LA, and obviously they won Champs, and that whole weekend was just nuts, because like I got to hang out at the compound right after the event, after they won, go to an after party. I got to, you know, talk with Nate Schott, John Robinson. Just like, as an esports guy, like, I'm not a huge fanboy, especially for any team, but like when you're in that kind of scene, when you're in that situation, you kind of become one. And it was hard not to be like, oh my god, I'm in the Optic compound. There's juvie everywhere. There's Chipotle everywhere. Like, it was just nuts. And like, we're celebrating the COD tournament, like COD Champs win, and then upstairs in the room, like the League Legends team, like Closer, and then we'll walk by, and you're like, oh my god, that's Abadaga and Closer, like, in someday. That's crazy. So, and then of course, yeah, speaking of the League Legends team, got to work with the 100 Thieves team at League of Legends in Chicago due to my connections with the LA Thieves. And that's kind of where we are now. So that's my long but short journey into esports. And here we are now with like no gigs, and now like photography and esports has just kind of become like a side thing to me. I mean, I would love to do events. It'll always be something I'm open to do. But I don't think I'm actively like looking anymore. I'm not shooting emails to 100 teams and you know, flying myself out or paying myself for hotels and flights just to take photos for a portfolio anymore. I'm not really about that. I'm very money focused, and it's okay to be money focused. I think it's okay to be selfish. I'm doing it for money. I love doing photography and esports. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not gonna pay my flight and hotel anymore for exposure or to build my portfolio in hopes to get more gigs. I've already like not hit the top. Obviously, I still have so much more I could do, but I've done a lot of things that are good, and my work, I think, speaks for itself. To where I don't need to, or I shouldn't be, paying for exposure anymore at this point. And obviously, like I said, you can always get better. I can always get better at photography. Trust me, there's tons of photographers doing better shit than I am, but it's just not my thing anymore. Again, I'll do it if someone reaches out. I'd love to, but not actively searching anymore. So, but yeah, that's my little short journey into esports. I do want to talk about how to stay focused and motivated, especially during those tough times in your career. I was never laid off, but like as a freelancer, you never have like. If I keep tweeting you, that pretty much solves the problem. Yeah, dude. I mean, LAT it was like a running joke. Like when they signed me on, that's when they started like performing at events, man. And it speaks for itself. The second at the Pro Am, fourth in Toronto, first at New York, first at Champs, and then they didn't have me for this last MW2 year at all. And they didn't do very well. But then the COD League hired me for Major 4, the one that was in the Belong Arena in Columbus, no fans, and they won it. I'm like, hey, I wasn't covering you guys, but I'm there. I feel like you just need me at these events to win. I don't know. And of course, I wasn't at Champs. They didn't win Champs. It's like, hey, or Major 5. So it's like, I don't know what to tell you guys. And honestly, they're the rumored new team. Yeah, I don't think me being there could help them out at this point. So if my time with LAT is done, it was a dream. That's for sure. That was a dream for sure. And I think I don't know what they're doing, but hey, best of luck to them and the LAT fans, man, because they're gonna need it this year, I think. But anyway, going into those dry periods, just staying focused, staying motivated. It's hard, definitely. Like when everyone else is getting jobs. I used to block a lot of photographers, not because I hated them, but because like they'd have events week after week after week. Oh, I'm in Cologne for ESL. I'm in Florida for CEO this week, and the next week I'm in Vegas for Evo. And I'm like, all right, dude. So I'd see photos from these events every day from every photographer, and I was like, dude, screw this. I blocked a couple of them. I've unblocked them now because I'm not that petty anymore. But man, when you're not getting work and you're seeing people just going to events every week and just seeing great work, you're like, okay, enough is enough. So I guess that was one thing I did one technique I did to stay focused and motivated, but it was an unhealthy one, that's for sure. I shouldn't be blocking people for stuff like that. But just I don't know, just trust in the process, just hoping that you'll find work, it'll land. It's hard in esports because especially now because everyone's kind of broke. I think everyone's broke, so nobody's gonna fly you out, nobody's gonna pay for your hotel, and not nobody, but it's very hard to come by, and everyone with the cameras now is a photographer, so that's kind of how tough the times are right now. But if you're serious about it, like I said, I moved on. I'm not that serious about it anymore. I have like my full-time job. It's very secure. It's benefits, 401k. I'm chilling. Like I found security, and that's what I need right now. But if you're someone still like pursuing esports, or especially esports photography, just even if you don't have work, try to get yourself out to those events if you're like super serious about it. That's how I started. I paid my own flights and hotels, Airbnbs, and Ubers and everything just to build that portfolio. So, but just keep getting better. Learn something new every day. I never went to photography school or college or took any classes. You could generally learn anything you want to about photography on like YouTube. It's not hard. It's free. It's easy. So, just keep getting better every day. Learn new techniques. Definitely stuff like that. And then I'm just looking at my bullet points. Speaking of the tough times, other challenges I faced in esports, man. Everyone and their mother having a camera. So like, even if you were like the CDL even when I was the CDL photographer for Major 4, I still had there was an upper deck photographer there that was in my way a lot, and he didn't know the rules, and to be fair to him, that's another one of the challenges I faced is inconsistent ass rules with tourney organizers. My God, like now that I'm kind of out of the scene, I don't want to burn any bridges, but I feel like I could talk about this more. Like the Call of Duty League, whoever that is, Esports Engine or Activision, needs like a little bit more clear rules when it comes to where I can go and where I can't go. Because during certain matches, like, during Hardpoint, they're never going to cut out of the map, so you can be in front of them. But, like, don't be in front of them too much. I'm like, well, obviously I'm not going to, like, put my camera in their face and distract them, but yeah, like, during game-winning moments or, like, trophy lifts, like, you have to be, you're confined to such a certain area. And you're like, okay, that's cool, I'm in this area, thanks for telling me, I can set up there. But then, like, when the actual winning moment happens, the real camera guy walks in front of there, the jib crane's moving in front of you, like 70 other people are running in front of you, and you're like, well, thanks for giving me this area. That's awesome. So, a little more clear rules where you can and can't go, in the badges, like, the upper deck guy could go the exact same place as I could, and I was, like, the CDL photographer, so it's kind of weird. But yeah, getting access and, like, being able to get the right angles to even get a good shot was one of the hardest things I've ever like had to face in esports, that's for sure. And same thing with Riot. I was with 100 Thieves at that LCS event in Chicago. I asked the guy before the show, hey, where can I go? Win? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, during the game, because it's League of Legends, they're never going to cut out of League of Legends unless there's a tech issue, obviously. But he's like, League of Legends is a long game. You can be on stage when they're playing. Whatever. Cool. I get on stage while they're playing, and Riot is so anal about their rules. I remember being on stage, and some guy's like, I see some guy like walking around on the floor, because like League stage is very elevated, if you've ever watched one of those events. And like this guy, I just look at him like, alright, whatever. I just go take photos, and I look again, he's waving me down. I get to him, I was like, yeah, what's up, man? I thought he was just telling me to get off the stage or whatever. He's like, what the hell are you doing on stage? I was like, I was told I could go up here. He's like, nobody told you that. And of course, like, I'm a smartass, so I'm thinking, oh, yeah, nobody told you. You got me, I lied to you. I flat out just lied to you. You got me. Like, no, someone told me I can go here. I literally asked before the show. He's like, who are you with? I'm like, I'm with 100 Thieves. He, like, takes me off the stage and, like, walks me to, like, the exit ramp of, like, this arena. And he, like, again, I don't want to burn any bridges, but I like to make fun of this all the time. This guy wanted to be like Paul Revere so bad. He like showed me and my face and like my badge and everything to like every security guard on the way there. Like, this guy can't be on the floor. Like, I couldn't even be on the floor anymore. Not even just the stage. I couldn't even be on the floor He's like, this guy cannot be on the floor. Blah blah blah. He takes me back to like 100 Thieves' locker room, and he's like, go get Ryan, who was like the manager. He's like, go get your manager. And I was like Karen, Kevin, whatever the guy version of Karen is. And like he goes and talks to him, like Ryan, and then Ryan's like, yeah, he's like, they want to take your badge away. They're not going to, but you're lucky. Like, it's Kyle. It's not Kyle. It's definitely not Kyle. Trust. It's definitely like Kevin or something like that. I don't know. It's not Kyle. He's like, they want to take your badge away. They're not going to, but like, if you do something like that again, you're just gonna get banned. And this was in Chicago. This is my city. You ain't gonna ban me from this, but whatever. I wasn't doing anything egregious. Like, I literally told the guy, I was like, listen, I asked the guy earlier. He told me I can go on here. Whatever. Just the way he handled it was so like garbage. But yeah, that was like the funniest shit ever to me. I'm laughing the whole time it's happening, because to me it's just funny that this guy's like, this guy can't go on stage. Look at him. Look, this guy can't go on stage. Make sure this guy doesn't get up there. And I'm like, holy shit, dude, chill out. Yeah, it was just a terrible misunderstanding. He's like, if you were, because the event was a Saturday, Sunday, and apparently, because I'm from Chicago, so I drove there Saturday and Sunday. He's like, yeah, on Friday we had a whole like content and players meeting about this. You know this, that you can't be on stage. I was like, hey, guess what, buddy? I wasn't fucking here Friday. Like, isn't that kind of crazy how that works? Yo, Mantle, is that Mantle Rafer? Nah, no way, Mantle Rafer. There's no way that boy just subbed, bro. Oh no, it wasn't a sub. Mantle Rafer subbed a long time ago. Okay, my event page isn't doing very well. Nah, the Sith Hippie, that's what the follow. Thank you for the follow. I love that name. What the heck? It's like if like Darth Vader or Darth Maul was a hippie, that'd be... Yo, book that. Do something with that. Make that a movie. Make that a new Star Wars trilogy. Instead of this Last Jedi shit that they did. But yeah, I was like, I wasn't there Friday. I didn't hear any of this information. I'm sorry. Like, I can't. I'm sorry I didn't hear it. You know, it was just a funny moment. It was a funny time. Again, it was super serious to them, but man, it was hilarious, to me at least. So, all in all, stage access, figuring out the rules, making them very clear and very consistent. That's like the big thing in esports for me. That was one of the harder challenges. It wasn't like a mental. I know this is a mental health podcast, but that wasn't like a mental block for me. I wasn't like, oh my god, like, um, it's it was a challenge, and yeah, it does have some kind of pressure to it because you want to deliver good content, and that's like my next point is, as a photographer or even videographer, you want to deliver good content, obviously, no matter what you do. And it's really hard when, one, you can't get good access, and two, people are telling you like it's hard to get good shots like when all the action's happening, and like you got to be a good photographer to get that, obviously, let alone getting in the right position or being able to like be anywhere relevant to the action. And when people are telling you one thing and this guy's telling you another, and this guy wants to take your badge away and ban you from the arena, like, you're gonna ban me from the United Center, my arena, like, fuck out of here. But like it's hard enough doing like photography, at least for me. I know some people make it look really easy. It's hard enough for doing photography. It's even harder when inconsistent rules, all this kind of stuff. And yeah, just like having good deliverables, man. I'm someone who's very hard on myself, and I kind of went over that in the last video, or the last episode of this podcast. Like, I say things to myself that I wouldn't say to other people. I just expect a lot of high things from myself, and looking back, I know my photos are pretty good, and like there's times where I'll see photos from events on Twitter, and I'll be like, oh, like yeah, they're good, but I could have done that. Like, damn, like why aren't I at these events? But in the moment, I'm very critical of my photos. I'm looking at every fine detail. Oh, that's a little bit blurry. That's a little bit out of focus. And like when you zoom out and like you're a normal viewer on Twitter, you'd think it's an amazing photo. But me, I nitpick everything, and you just don't even want to like deliver it to like your client. Like, there were so many photos I have that I just didn't even want to deliver to LA Thieves, but I did, and they loved them. They turned out to be some of my better, photos, like better performing ones on socials, or people loved them the most. So, but yeah, man, when it is close, like in Call of Duty, for example, that's the event I've shot the most. When the event, like if it's a game 5 or your team's up, 3 whatever, and it's a best of 4 or 5 something, or 6 whatever the best of the last map is. Holy shit, dude! When a game or when a tournament is close to ending and your team's like the team, like doing it, man, it is nerve-wracking for me, at least. I just be shaking in my boots when I'm like when the event is coming down, because you gotta like, you want to get into position to where you think the pop-off is gonna happen and where you think you'll be in a good spot for a trophy lift, but at that same time, there's about 40 other camera guys doing the same thing. Like, the opposing team's camera guys doing it. The 100 freelancers with their iPhones in the fucking crowd are gonna, get ready to do it too. And then the security team is right there in like the front line too, telling you like, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that. Back up. Just behind the line, shit like that. And like, man, it's just for me, I don't get stressed too easily, but man, it is a stressful time during those trophy shots and during those final moments of an esports event. Man, I tell you, those are some of my more stressful moments in like my life, like, let alone just esports. And it's just taking photos of a winning team, like, but you want to get good ones, man. You don't want to like have the social media manager of 100 Thieves like being like, hey man, it's awesome, our team just won, do you have that trophy shot so I can like post it? Nah, man, gosh, this guy got in the way and this shot was blurry, and man, I sucked, I was in a terrible spot. Like, you don't want to do that. And luckily I've never fucked up too bad on a trophy shot. I can do better for sure, but I've never like completely messed up. And that's why I'll never do weddings, by the way. Like, people ask me if I want to do wedding photography. Nah. If I miss a esports gaming moment, at the end of the day, I'll still sleep at night because it's esports, and it's like whatever. It's like cool. But if I miss somebody's like first kiss, or if I get like blurry photos of the first dance, or it's too dark, when the mom and son are dancing, or the father-daughter dance, and they cut the cake and I fuck that up. I couldn't. Especially for how much money I would charge as a wedding photographer, because those people make a lot of money. I don't think I could deal with that kind of stress or pressure. That's for sure. again, messing up a kid's gaming moment, cool, it sucks. Yeah, I want to be there and get it. Obviously, the client wouldn't be happy if I fucked it up, but ooh, man, weddings, dude, you messed that up. That's a little bit more tough for me, and I'm okay with not doing that. I don't want to. I don't want to have that on my shoulders. Let's see what else I got on my little list of questions that I was going to ask my photographer friend for this podcast, but I'll just ask myself. Oh, capturing moments of triumph and defeat. That's what our role really involves. That. How do you approach your work while being sensitive to the emotional roller coaster that players might be experiencing? I had a good script for this guy, man. I had a pretty good script for him, but I guess I'll do it for me. I love the really emotional moments. Obviously, it's very as a photographer, especially someone who's not really invested in like whether the team wins or loses. Obviously, I want the Thieves to win when I'm covering the Thieves, but as like a freelancer, I don't really. I care, but I don't really care. At the end of the day, it's gonna sound shady. I'm getting paid still. Obviously, if they compete in more days, I do a daily rate. Obviously, if they play a certain day and they get eliminated, so they don't play the next day, then I don't get paid that much. So obviously, I want them to win, but like, I'm not as invested as like the owner or the actual videographer that's hired on by the team, and I'm not invested like they are. So I love losing moments. I think they're more exciting than the winning moments because everyone posts the winning moments. You see a lot of those photos. It's the sad ones that I really like. I don't know if I could find a photo really quickly. It was back at the Pro League qualifier in Black Ops Cold War. And I was working with G2 when they had a Call of Duty team. That was a weird timeline. This tweet is from a suspended account. Oh, that's cool. Whatever. I have a photo that I'll never find. And that's okay. But it was of Chino. And everyone had, like, they lost. They just didn't qualify. They just lost to Methods' team. I can't remember who Methods was playing for. No, he was playing for that G2 team. Never mind. They just lost to, like, Zero, I think. Or some, like, European team. Can't remember who. Maybe it was Red Reserve. Just lost, didn't qualify for the Pro League. And, like, everyone had left their setup on that G2 team except for Chino. And, like, I just got, like, a black and white image of him just sitting there. Empty chairs all around. Him just, like, blankly staring at his screen. And, dude, it was, like, one of my favorite photos I ever took. Like, wasn't one of the best, like, from a technical standpoint. I just found it on my phone. Like, I doubt I'll be able to even, like, show it nicely. Yeah, that's the photo. Yeah, I zoomed in way better than I thought it would. But yeah, that's the photo. And, like, I love stuff like that. Follow me, Media by KJ, on my Instagram, by the way. Yeah, just, like, the emotion and stuff like that. I love that more than the wins. And then even I had this one of Bance. Focus, you bastard. But yeah, no, stuff like that. I love when people are crying. In a sick way. JV Prodigy is here. What's going on, baby? I was just talking to you about you, bro. In a good way, of course. Trust, don't worry. But yeah, capturing the highs and lows. I mean, I know it's a very tough time for them. Especially during Pro League qualifiers when you don't qualify for something that could have changed your career or your financial situation. Luckily enough, I have a long enough lens to where I can be far enough away and still take those photos of them crying or super sad or whatever without like being in their face about it. Because there's people that get in their face about it, and like I understand it's the content you gotta capture, you want to capture it, but I've never been that kind of person. I'll never stick my like 24mm like lens that I have to get super close up to somebody with. I'll never stick that in like a player's face, especially when they just lost. Like there's no way. I know I'd do anything for the content, but I have some kind of morals. I have some kind of empathy for players. So luckily I have a 70 to 200. I can be far away. But man, when you're capturing somebody like crying or something, and like they stop doing it, and then they get up and look at you. Oh, dude. Oh my god. Like, it's such an awkward thing. Do you feel weird taking a picture when they're down bad? Yeah. I do feel really weird about it. Like, and before I didn't have a now I have a camera with a silent shutter, but before I didn't. So like you would go back into like the players lounge. That was what's called. The player area, whatever. The PPL or player practice area, PPA, whatever. PPA. You'd go back to that after they like just got eliminated from the tournament, and like everyone's like no one's talking to each other. Even the coaches are like, whatever. Everyone's like wrapping up their controllers, and everyone's like super quiet, just soaking it in. And my dumb ass has to be there. Like I was taking photos, and of course I have this loud ass shutter, so like tick, 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 and I'm like in the quietest room in the world, and I'm like motherfucker, like. So I just look like an asshole. I feel like an asshole. When it's on stage and the crowd's roaring, that's different because they can't hear my shutter, especially now with my silent shutter camera. But my God, before it was just so awkward. Like everyone else is wrapping up, and like one player would have their head down, and they're just like about to cry and shit, or like this, and then all you hear is tick, 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 and I'm like, okay. So, it's my job. It's really awkward, but again, if you have a long enough lens. And you're slick about it, you can get away with it without being too intrusive or too much of an asshole. Obviously, it's more fun capturing the winning moments. Well, I wouldn't say more fun. I like capturing the sad ones. It's obviously easier capturing the winning moments, but those sad ones, like they tell a better story. They tell a great story as well. Like I said, that Chino one. I mean, I love that Chino photo. Didn't qualify. All of his teammates already wrapped up and left. It was just him there, so I love that. What else do we got? What else do I got here? What else was I going to ask my buddy on this podcast? Esports event being physically and mentally demanding, man. Hell yeah. Involving long hours and irregular schedules. What event did I have like the toughest time with that? I think my latest event, Combo Breaker, here in Chicago. I got there like super early because that's when my client, Quanba, they make the joysticks and like the pads you see fighting game players play with. I was working with them. They had me there. They didn't have me there at 10, but I was like there at like 10, 11, 12. I was like, that's just when I want to show up, get traffic out the way, because I was driving, because it's here in Schaumburg. They had me there super early in the day. And Combo Breaker, if like there's a delay on like the main stage, because they like to bring other fighting games to the main stage when they're getting down to their finals. Man, Combo Breaker went from like 10 to like 10, and if I wanted to stay longer, because what I love about fighting game community, and especially Combo Breaker, is they take over the entire like hotel that they're in. Like, the Schaumburg hotel was like the key cards to your rooms were Combo Breaker themed, and like, Combo Breaker's going on, but after like the event is over and like the hall gets cleared, the whole hotel is still like an arcade. People have their setups like randomly betting and doing side bets, and playing on their weird ass little TVs and computers, and cosplay all around. I love that it takes over the whole venue. So like from 10 to like 10 is when I would work, like 12 hours. But man, if I wanted to, I could have been there 12 or 14, 16 hours. Luckily I wasn't. I drove home that the same days. But those long hours of esports are definitely tough, especially when you're on your feet the whole day and you're like bored. That's why I want to shoot a Halo event. Halo gets right into the map very quickly after like map 1, 2, Call of Duty, man, Jesus Christ. Like, they'll finish a hard point, and then you're waiting like 10 minutes for the search to start, and search takes forever if it's not a 6-0. And then you gotta take the bathroom break, you got like 30 ads, you gotta watch a hot mic segment, you gotta this and that. And, what are the keys to the victory? And I understand that's part of the broadcast, that's part of it, the analytics and shit like that, but my God, dude, like, let's go. Wrap it up. And Rainbow Six events, dude, love the scene. Don't love the game, but I loved going to Rainbow Six events. But Jesus, those events take so long, dude. I think it's like best of 3s only, unless it's the finals, and they take longer than a best of 7 in COD, or like a best of 9 in COD, man. Every round they do that pick ban phase of like who they pick as their operator and ban as their operator, which takes forever because people are like debating each other, like, I'm gonna ban this guy, no, I'm actually not. I'm picking this character, I'm actually not. Like, oh, here's because there's 5 players on the team and they allow the 6th pick, where like 1 year 5 like picks someone different than who they initially picked. to throw off the other team, and you're like, oh, clever. But that takes so long. And then after all of that crap, you go through like the 2.5 minute, 3 minute like defense stage where you like put up your barriers and shit, and the offense team like uses their drones to find the bomb, and you're like, dude, let's go. And then nothing happens in the round for like the first fucking, I don't know how long rounds are. Let's just say it's 5 minutes. I don't think it is, but nothing will happen until 4:30. Because everyone's like just dicking around in their camps trying to figure out what's going on, and you're like, I know that's the game, but holy shit. And that's one round. And then you do it again. Pick your operator, ban your operator, sixth pick, go set up your shit, go find the bomb, wait 4.5 minutes to do anything on the map, and then okay, that's another round. And you're like, dude, holy shit. And I think it goes to like 6 or 7 rounds to win in Rainbow Six. And if a team is going back and forth, dude, you're like, holy shit. Like, one map can take like 30 minutes, and I understand that's how League of Legends is too, but at least League of Legends, something's happening. Holy crap. It's bad. I didn't like those long... Those were long days. Those were long hours, and like just boring hours too. I don't mind long days if something's happening. But man, when you're like waiting around all day for something to happen, those are the long days. And just trying to get through that in esports was tough. But I always knew at the end of the day it was worth it. I loved being at those events, no matter how long those hours were and how weird the schedules were. But it's definitely tough for some people. I could 100% see that. What memorable moments or experience that have shaped my outlook, not only within the industry, but in life in general? Well, I'm trying to think of a positive one, like not in a good way, but like I told that experience with the with the Riot rep who took me off stage and Paul revered my ass, showing me to everybody in the back. That shaped my outlook on the career, that's for sure. That shaped my outlook on the industry. That's when I knew. I was like, all right. I was like, this industry is full of people that just really want to have power so bad, but they don't have it in real life, so they have to like force it at an event. I still can't get over that moment. That'll always be the funniest moment to me in my like esports career for sure. I think of a positive one that shaped my outlook. I mean, I really don't have one. I mean, I never had like a good, memorable moment in esports that was like, that changed my outlook on life. I mean, yeah, I got to travel all over the world. I got to do really awesome things, and like I got to meet amazing people. So I guess that counts. And like being nominated for Photographer of the Year twice, that was pretty cool too. I remember watching the award show with my girlfriend at the time. Like we were watching it on Twitch on my TV. I knew I wasn't going to win because I knew like Rich Locke was going to win, and he should have, and he did, thank God. Like that was pretty cool. Like you were almost like watching like the Emmys from your home, and you were on them. You know, like, oh, here's the nominees for Photographer of the Year. This amazing guy, this amazing guy, this amazing girl. Kyle Miller. I'm like, holy shit. Like, and you're watching it with, you know, people you loved at the time, and so that was pretty cool. But yeah, most of my experiences or moments that have changed my outlook on the industry are pretty negative outlooks on the industry. Like esports right now is it's in a very weird place, especially for freelancers or especially for photographers. Like I said earlier, everyone's kind of broke, and people are choosing worse options as photographers, in my opinion, because they're cheaper or because they live at the place where the event is, over talent and, you know, having to fly them out. And like you get what you pay for, especially with photography, so, you know, they end up kind of, you know, biting it in the end. Shout out Minnesota Rocker, dude. That's like my back in 2020. That was my like. I was like, okay. Long story short, I was supposed to like work with the Rocker. At least I thought I was supposed to, and then they ended up going with some guy that actually lives in Minnesota as a photographer. And like their photos from that event were terrible. And I got to work with Espat Media, some like media company, and I thought my photos were killer from that event. I was like, I went in with some passion, I went in with some motivation. I was like, I want to outperform this guy because it should have been me. Insert the Yu-Gi-Oh! It should have been me, not him. Like, so that was that was awesome. But that was the same event that Kobe Bryant actually died back in 2020. Just going off on a slight tangent. I've told a few people this story, but like they were supposed to do the show match between, who was it? It was Michael B. Jordan, Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, and Vince Carter, or Vince Staples. I can't remember. Vince Carter's a basketball player, right? Because it wasn't a basketball player, it was like a rapper. It might have been Vince Staples, something like that. They're supposed to do that 2v2 show match at that Rocker event, the CDL kickoff. And I remember being in the media room, getting photos during the interviews. They were interviewing, Kat, Andrew Wiggins, and the Vince guy. Michael B. Jordan wasn't there yet. I was so excited to see Michael B. Jordan on stage and get photos of him because eSpam Media really wanted photos of him too, but he wasn't in that media room, before their 2v2 show match. But I was still getting photos of Anthony Towns, Wiggins, and the other guy. And I remember Karl Anthony Towns' manager. I was just taking photos and I kind of overheard her talking to some guy, and she was like, "Nah, that's TMZ. There's no way that's real." And then Kat was like, he overheard her, and he was like, "Oh, what's up?" And she's like, "Yeah, apparently Kobe Bryant's dead," and the whole the Call of Duty guy, whoever was running that whole media scrum, was like, "Okay, photographers and interviewers and all this stuff, you guys go back to your press room, whatever." And that's how the news broke. And I went on Twitter right away when I got back to my laptop in my room, and TMZ reports Kobe Bryant helicopter crash or whatever, and you're like, holy shit, dude. And then they canceled the 2v2 show match, and Lottie announces it over the intercom, and that's when I went down into the crowd area, and that was really weird. Being in the same room as two basketball players who probably idolized Kobe growing up and or played with him. I'm not sure if Karl Anthony ever played against him. But being in the room with two basketball players, when Kobe Bryant apparently died, is it was weird. That's a memory I'll always remember. People always ask, my older people, "Oh, where were you when Kennedy died or Obama became president, or where were you during 9/11?" I'll remember where I was when Kobe Bryant died for sure. Never will forget that. So, little side tangent there, but that was a crazy moment in esports for sure for me. What else do I got on this list here? Oh yeah, something I get asked a lot. What advice would you give to up-and-comers who want to build a successful and sustainable career within the esports industry? Well, a sustainable one right now, I don't know what to tell you, because that's nothing about esports right now seems very sustainable at all. People with amazing talent and years in the industry are getting laid off, and I hate to sound don't actually achieve it. You're not going to achieve it. Everything's bad about it. But man, it's tough right now. That's for sure. I don't know. I just tell people do it for the right reason. Don't do it like I was doing it for money. Do it because you love it and you love esports and you love photography. And not to say I don't love esports or photography, but I was definitely doing it at a time for sure. I was doing it for money. But just do it for the right reasons. Kind of lower your expectations, especially nowadays. Like I said, people are getting laid off like crazy, left and right. And you especially if you're just doing photography like I am, you're probably not going to land a job on an organization. You're going to be doing freelance, and you just got to reach out. Be annoying about reaching out. Again, I'm not doing that anymore, but I used to. When there's an event, figure out what teams are going, email them. Figure out what sponsors are going to go, email them. The tourney organizers themselves, whether it's Esports Engine or 343, whoever, just email them, email anybody, and just be annoying about it if you're really serious about it. Especially if you're close or exactly from the state that it's being held in, people will always hire people that are closer to save money than they will for talent, and that's just how it is. So do that. Definitely do that. And then as a photographer specifically, the things that are most important, people oh, I don't have the kind of gear. What gear should I have? Your camera means the absolute least when it comes to photography. I know that sounds weird, but there's four things in my opinion in order of importance. The person is the most important. Obviously, that's whatever. Your editing, your lens and editing kind of go back and forth between 2 and 3, and then your camera. Like, there's a reason a camera is like 3K, some of them, and the lens itself is like 2,000, 1,500. Like, the lenses, the piece of glass you have is super important, and especially, like, you can have a really nice camera, but if you don't have a 2.8 focal length, and I know that non-photography people, this is just jargon, but if you don't have a certain lens in low light environments like esports, you ain't gonna do shit with that nice ass camera you just bought. I don't care who you are. So you need to have the right lens for esports. And then your editing. I mean, if you take really good photos but you throw on some like stupid ass Instagram filters and you make it look shit and you forget to take out grain. AI does it all nowadays. I was just on Lightroom the other day for the first time in a while since Major 4. And like there's like a denoise AI tool now. You just click that button and it denoises it like crazy, and it's like, what the like I had to go into the settings and do a million things to do that. So it does it all for you. So, and then of course the person. I mean, if you're holding the camera upside down or like you have no idea what you're doing, obviously, then yeah, I don't care how good of a camera you have. Like that's just obvious to me. So, yo, Aces, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Got 2 followers this session. It's more than we got last session, man. This is awesome. This is great. I'm happy you guys are here in chat, Chandler, as well. You know, having me giving me some. That person said LO. Is that Taylor? No, okay. I know like one other person that says LO, but there's no way that's Taylor. So, but it might be Taylor. But how's it going? But yeah, I appreciate you being in chat. It helps with the solo cast, that's for sure. Again, I wanted guests for this one, but you know, here we are. Here I am talking to myself for another hour. So it is. Is it Taylor? Okay. You don't say hello, but like you say hello in such a certain way when I join the VC that it comes to me like hello or like hello. Like you sound goofy when you say it, bro. I don't know. I don't know how to say it nicely. If this is Taylor, you do say goofily when I join VC with you. I don't want to be making fun of some random person that's not Taylor. It isn't Taylor? Oh, am I making fun of someone that's not Taylor? Ah, shit. Anyway. But yeah, Chandler, you know what I'm saying? Like, you've been in VCs with Taylor, or like, you'll join the VC, like, to check in on our team. And he'll say, like, oh, hello. I'm like, bro, what? So, he do be saying that. I'm not just tripping. But yeah. I lost track of where it was with esports. Yeah. Person, editing, / the lens, and then the camera. If you want to be successful in photography, worry about those. So, but yeah, if that's the kind of route you want to take in for esports photography, which my opinion don't, because again, it's kind of not a dying industry, but it's kind of weird right now. We'll focus on those things. Let me see the other I only have like 2 more questions I was going to ask my buddy. And then I got to go order my Chinese, so I just wanted to answer those real quick. As someone who documents esports scene, whether it's photography or video, what messages would you like to convey to fans, players, or the industry about the importance of prioritizing mental health? And I mean, again, this just kind of goes back to like when I was doing that social media management. Like, it's so easy to let the numbers and the impressions like dictate how happy you are. That, at least for me, it was. Like I said, if a tweet didn't have a ton of 100 likes, I was like, that's a failure of a like or a failure of a tweet. Or if I posted my 4 photos from the day, my 4 favorites from the day, and those didn't like pop off, I was like, well, I guess these photos are shit. Like, they weren't. I know they were good. My client loved them. I loved them. And that's all that really matters, especially if your client loves them. Like, at the end of the day, you want to love them, but if your client loves them too, that's just like, that's all that really mattered. It didn't need to pop off on Twitter. Not everyone had to be like, oh my god, like that's the craziest shit I've ever seen. That's how I used to be, though. I used to think I needed that. But if you're happy, if your client's happy, and especially if you're happy, that's all that really mattered when it comes to like anything you put out, photo, video, tweets, all that kind of stuff. So, and like it was very easy for me to let go of my physical health for sure, and my mental health when I was in esports. Just don't lose that. I just have an outlet for stuff like that. I don't know how to explain it, like, because I really didn't have too much of an outlet, but I just worked on myself, and like I didn't prioritize those certain things. I didn't prioritize likes, engagements, shit like that. So, and then I guess the last thing I want to touch on is the concept of burnout or creative block. I assume a lot of people get that no matter what they're doing, whether it's writing or coming up with tweets. Anything like that, photography, videography, editing, stuff like that. So, there's times where like I thought I couldn't buy a good photo. I was taking shots and like I was like, this is ass. Like, what am I doing? Like, do I even know how to take photos? Like, what am I doing? But you just gotta go back to basics. Just finding new angles in photography is a big thing too, because a lot of people have. Like I said, everyone with the fucking camera, everyone with a phone is a photographer now. And you see a lot of the same esports shots, and like it's very, especially like people meme on it too. Like whenever they do like a headshot, it's always like the arms crossed gamer pose. Like everyone knows about that one. But even without like portraits, like just regular shots on the stage, they're all the same. They all look the same. It's all been done. So, trying to find like new angles, or like I've started, well, when I was doing photography, I started like shooting with stuff in the foreground or the background a lot more, like esports or any stage setup, concerts or whatever, has those like square pillars that have like a pattern of like rods in between. I don't know how to explain it, but you know what I'm talking about. They have pillars with rods and like you could see through it, and like if you shoot behind one of those, like I would just shoot through those, and like so you could have that in the foreground, and then him, the player, the subject in the background. It makes for so much. Like there's a picture of, I didn't take it, I wish I did, when Methods was retiring. Someone had like their hand as a heart in the crowd, and then someone from the crowd behind that person took a photo through that heart of Methods, and I was like, holy shit, like what a great photo. I'm sure they set that up. They had to have set that up. There's no way they were in the right place, right time when that happened. There's no shot in hell. I'd put money on that. Find that photographer. But it's still a wonderful shot. Just stuff like that. Just get creative, get experimental. Don't do the same esports, shot. Don't do the same crap. Everyone's done it before. I've seen the same photo of Scump and Clayster and all these old heads a million times by now. So, doing that. Let's see. High expectations of myself, mainly due to the circle of people I was around when it came to esports. Huh. What circle were you around? Like, what expectations were they putting you on? Like, I kind of understand that, because like especially when I do esports events with other photographers, like I wasn't working Combo Breaker as the main photographer for the event, but like when you're surrounded by photographers like Robert Paul and Vexany and Hello It's Lee, if you're talking about the same thing, I know what it's like to be around like amazing photographers, and you just want to think like you just want to like, oh, okay, I've got to keep up. I've got to like I got to put out just as good shit, if not better stuff than them, because look at the stuff they're putting out. They're amazing. Holy crap. How am I on this team? And like imposter syndrome, that's something I used to get a lot of. Like when I was working with Thieves, I was like, how the hell did I get here? Like I'm not even that good. I'm not, like I shouldn't even be here. And like when I was nominated for Photographer of the Year, I was really happy about it, of course, but I was like, yeah, maybe my friends and my family voted, or my fans on Twitter, like I have fans, like maybe they voted me in, and it was like a popularity contest or whatever. But that's because like you see your name on that like nominations ballot with these photographers that I look up to, or I think are just fantastic. They never miss when they post on Twitter. And I'm like, why am I even up here? I'm such an imposter. Like I should like find the one guy on this list that's sus, and I'm like, that's me. I'm the red Among Us character. I'm sus. Get out. Like that was always me. So motorsport related esports, huh? Motorsport related esports, is that like Is that the stuff Crim6 does? Is that what you're talking about? Motorsport related esports. And both the top. Crim Thick? Yeah, are you talking about that Crim Thick stuff? Photography pace was a little off. The people I was around, but it became faster. Okay, there you go. Yeah, just enjoy yourself. Like, I that's something I really wish I did. That's a really good point. I'm glad you said that. Especially when you go into a drought of not having events, kind of like I am now. And I'm okay with not having events now, like I said, but before, when I didn't have events, like, from the Genji era to, like, when I started working with Thieves, which was, like, a 2-year span, like, I wish I had, and even now, looking back on times, I wish I enjoyed the moment a lot more, or, like, the process. Like, if I could go back, like, those weekends when you're at events, they go by so fast, and, like, by the time it's, like, Sunday or Monday morning when you're flying back home, you're like, damn, dude, I wish I, like, was more present. And that's something I'm really trying to work on in anything I do, not just photography or esports, but, like, just being more present, enjoying myself, enjoying the moment. Because, like, I wish I could go back and relive the time at the compound. Crim6, yeah, Crim6 is, he used to be a Call of Duty professional, like, the best one ever, and now he does F1, what is it, Chandler? He does F1 for FaZe Clan. He's on their F1 racing team or something like that. Not the real F1 racing, but, like, the gaming thing. It's like what's that movie coming out, Gran Turismo? It's like if he was, like, in that movie. Like, he's the gamer, playing Gran Turismo. Yeah, no, he's really bad. Oh, yeah, no, he's bad. I don't think he's very good at it, but he joined FaZe or something. I remember seeing he didn't place very well, but he's doing it, man. He loves F1. He has that little thing at home, the whole gig, the whole setup. So, hey, good for him, man. He's done everything he's ever wanted to or needed to in Call of Duty. He's, like, the most winningest player in COD. So, not money wise. I don't think money wise. I think somebody passed him with the prize pools these days. But he's got the most chips. I saw FaZe joining the same league as us, and we just laughed. Are you part of you're part of an org that competes in that? Saw FaZe join the same league as us. What org is it? I'm not gonna lie to you, I've probably never heard of it. I don't really know the F1 scene too well, or the F1 esports scene, if that's what it is. Rensport, I'm gonna look this up. But yeah, I imagine if you see, like, Crim6, like, just join your thing, you're like, oh, okay. I was like, bro, they just give this guy a charity team, huh? Oh, there you go, look at that. 4 racers from racers. Would you look at that? Hell yeah. Oh, you guys were at Gamers 8 earlier this year, it looks like. Is Gamers 8 in, like, India? I swear there was a Gamers 8 event that was in, like, India or Pakistan or something. I remember that was where a fighting game was. I can't remember where Gamers 8 was recently. Saudi Arabia. I knew I was close. Hell yeah. Oh, you didn't go? Damn. That's a place I'd love to go. My old boss at Lifetime Fitness was Egyptian. Is that what he was? Egyptian? But he would always go on vacation in Saudi Arabia. And he's like, dude, it is great there. Like, I see WWE. I'm a big wrestling fan. For those that don't know, I see them go to Saudi Arabia or, like, Jeddah. And for all those, like, pay-per-views, and I'm like, dude, this place is popping, man. They got money out there. Like, I always knew that area wasn't, like, I knew that area wasn't, like, broke, obviously. But I'm like, man, these motherfuckers got money. And, like, Saudi Arabia wanted to buy the rights to WWE for a while. Saudi Arabia's trying to buy all these, like, soccer players for their team. I thought they were interested in, like, Mbappe. I don't know much about soccer. Do not ask me about soccer or football, so I don't want to offend anybody. But I'm pretty sure they were interested in, like, Mbappe for a little bit. And I'm like, dude, these guys got money out there, man. So, I'm about to move out there. I'm about to just get rich out there, dude. No way. Like, just go have a nice home out there. That's really cool, man. That's Ronaldo and Messi. Oh, they're trying to get everyone. I don't know how the hell Florida landed Messi. I'm not. Like I said, I'm not a big like soccer or football guy, but to what I don't know what team he used to play for, but like Florida gets him. I was like, really? Oh yeah, he's bad. Florida spent all their budget. They had to. They better be a better team this year, aren't they? They better do good. Weren't they the second worst team last year? I thought I saw somewhere in the standings they were the second worst team, or the worst. And like Chicago Fire, where I'm from, Chicago was pretty down there too. So not much to cheer for soccer wise out here. And then like our men's USA team sucks, and then the women's USA team just shit the sheets this year. So we don't really got much going for us out here. The men's USA team loses to countries that like we governmentally aid. Like we feed some of the countries that the men lose to in soccer. So I don't know how that works, but when Prime sponsored the team I supported and it was going to be oh no Prime not a Prime guy. You're not a Yeah, no, I mean they did get their goal of watching people watching MLS. That's for sure. I don't think anybody. I know a ton of people that would start watching MLS just because Messi's in it now. Oh yeah. The FC Barcelona ad for Prime? I did not. I didn't know FC Barcelona was sponsored with Prime. Is that what you're saying? They're sponsored with Prime? Oh, they are, right? I thought I saw their Prime sponsors or something like that. FC Barcelona Prime. Didn't Prime just have like a whole ass like? Oh yeah, Prime taking over the football world. Yeah. I remember this tweet with Logan and KSI in the football jerseys. It's shocking. What ad are you talking about? Is it like a commercial or is it a? Or are you talking about just like the sponsorship in general is just crazy? Or shocking? Didn't Prime just like didn't Logan just go on a thing yesterday? Didn't Logan just go on a thing yesterday about like on Fox about Prime being bad for you? Like really? And like I don't like Prime Energy. I've had that before. I used it as like a mixer with like vodka or something, and it was like whatever. I like the regular Prime as much as I'm not a fan of. He's got to make me an NFT soon. Like, isn't he still working on that NFT game like Zoo Coin or some shit that he, or Crypto Zoo or something that he scammed everyone for still? And like trust me, I don't like the Paul brothers. I think Logan's getting better. If he would stop with this NFT scamming shit. And Logan's really good at WWE wrestling. Like this guy's got an act for it. I hate to say it. I can't believe it. Prime tastes bad. Okay, see, I know a lot of people that don't like the way Prime tastes even over here. I like the regular Prime. I think it's because it has like 10% coconut water, I think, right? And maybe that's what it's doing for me. I like how smooth it is compared to some Gatorade. Gatorade's very like Gatorade lemon lime. Is that what it is? Lemon lime? Is that the flavor? It's really good. But lemon lime Prime is smoother because it has I think the coconut water. I think that's what makes it smooth. I love Prime. I don't like Prime Energy. I love Prime. But people acting like Prime Energy is bad for you because it has 200 milligrams of caffeine. Like hello, do you not know what's in your coffee? Do you not know what's in a Bang? Like Bang is 300. I mean what the fuck. Jake does need to stop fighting just retired bags of milk. Is that what they call the? Who was that? Who was the guy he fought that they called a bag of milk? I can't remember his name. used to do UFC, I thought, but everyone's like, yeah, he looks like a bag of milk, and then he fights like 4'5", 4'7", Dan Askren or Ben Askren. Ben Askren was the bag of milk. Everyone kept saying bag of milk. And then he fights like 4'8" Nate Robinson, basketball player. And then when he has a real fight, it's a loss. Who was that one too? I can't remember who he just fought. Was it Fury? Tommy Fury that he just lost to? So That's weird how that works. Yeah, dude, I don't follow a lot of the boxing stuff because I don't like boxing as a sport. And I know that there's such history to it, and I'm sure boxing was awesome back in the day, but boxing right now is very shit because of all this influencer boxing. But yeah, so I saw Logan is facing Dylan Dennis, or supposed to, but but I think Dylan's gonna back out. I just keep seeing all the Dylan Dennis memes where he keeps posting pictures of Logan's fiance with like 20 other guys, and like this dude's a fiend, dude. I don't know where the fuck he's finding these photos, bro. Okay, I thought Dylan Dennis backed out of a fight. I wasn't too sure. Like I said, I don't pay attention to this stuff. But okay, that was against KSI. He backed out. He's not gonna do Logan if he didn't do KSI. There's no way. But like, this guy just keeps finding images of this guy's girlfriend with other people, and I'm like, where the fuck do you keep finding these? Like, didn't he just post one with her and LeBron? I was like, where the hell? Like, it's just this guy's hilarious. So like, if you back out now, you're just a bitch. It's hilarious. Oh, it's hilarious. But it's like, dude, you can't back out now, man. You keep bringing up this guy's fiance and stuff. Like, dude, you got to do the fight now. Come on. Don't back out, please. It's hilarious. So, he's got to go and do that. But yeah, Logan Paul, man, that dude is too good at wrestling in WWE. That guy is too good for the sport. I forgot I have auto mod on, and it wants me to hold your message for saying at the weigh-in everyone chanted she's a hoe. I'll allow it. Twitch was like, yeah, there's misogyny in this tweet. Do you want to allow it? I was like, I think we're okay. Media by KJM used /add permitted term she's a hoe. So if you want to type in she's a hoe now, you're allowed to, I think. I think that's what... Whatever, Twitch. Oh, no, I guess not. I guess I have to allow it again. Oh, no, it's she a hoe. You gotta type she's a hoe. I think she's a hoe is permitted. And now I added a new permitted one. She a hoe, just single. But yes, I do like seeing Twitter users whine when... Man, I have to allow all these, bro. What the hell? Never mind. Well, never mind. I gotta permit them all one at a time. That's kind of ass. But yes, I do like when people like geek over anything they do, especially like again, I'm in the WWE like Twitter space, and like Logan has such good matches, and he is so good at what he does for not being a professional wrestler. But anytime he has a match or does something cool, everyone just shits on it. They're like, oh yeah, no, he's not that good. I was like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, he's so good. Like, you just don't like him because of his, his past, and again, his past sucks. It's fucked up. But like, dude, just give the guy some flowers once in a while, bro. Like, you ain't got to get on Twitter and be like, oh damn, Logan Paul sucks at wrestling. He should die, dude. I hate Prime. I fucking hate everything this guy does, dude. I wish he'd quit breathing. Like, what? Like, he's damn good at wrestling, dude. Go try it yourself. Go see how you do. It's like, oh, you don't want to? Shocker. Weird. What kind of video am I on here? Rainy jazz cafe. Slow jazz music in a coffee shop. Yeah, I'm okay, bro. Let me turn on my... For my streaming music, no copyright. Okay. This goes kind of hard. Again, that's very loud for me. I'm gonna turn it up for y'all, but not for me, because I can't. Let me turn it up. There we go. Bang. But I get a copyright strike. Yeah, that's what I'm saying about Logan. Like, I haven't come around on Jake yet. Pause. But, Logan, I'm starting to, and yeah, if he just needs to pay out this crypto scam shit. The Japan drama, I'm kind of over. Again, you shouldn't be doing that shit, but like, I'm kind of over it, to be honest. It happened. He apologized. I mean, whatever. The crypto stuff, he needs to figure it out. Oh, yeah, I respect Jake more than 2020 Jake, or earlier Jake, for sure. Not a huge fan of Jake yet, but, oh yeah, way more than I was. Like, hell no. Like, there's no way. I want to see them fight each other because I saw them argue on his podcast the other day. I don't watch the podcast, but I just saw I just saw some clips of it. They're arguing his shit, so I want to see them fight. That'll sell. But yeah, Jake's house is something to be jealous of. That is for sure. Ugh. Why does gaming music gotta be like whack sometimes? Let's put this on. Alrighty. You're 14, Alex? Aces? You're 14? Jesus. Golly. Either you're 14 or you've been doing what you've been, or you're a sim racer for 14 years. Yeah, I saw you just followed me on Twitter. I was like, this guy is either 14, like he says, or he's been a sim racer for 14 years. Which I was like, the 14-year sim racer makes more sense. But hey, man, doing it at 14 is nuts too. $2020 Jake. So that was like what, when you were like 11? $14-year-old proper virgin doing it for 14 years, man. Yeah, so you hated 2020 Jake back in, you've been hating Jake since 11 years old, huh? 10 years old, that's crazy. And I'm dated, bro. Chandler, we're old, bro. If you're still in here, dude, we're old. Shit. But yeah, if people are just joining the stream, I see the viewer count slowly going up and down. If people are just joining, we kind of talked everything I wanted to about esports health and, you know, the photography journey and mental health and stuff like that. So, I mean, the VOD will be available on Twitch, but I will be uploading the VOD over to my YouTube channel, Media by KJam as well. All my esports Press Start to Heal episodes are going to go on YouTube as well, the whole VOD, along with some clips as like some shorts, so if you're not subscribed already, I'd appreciate it. Uploaded a couple shorts today from like my past fitness related content, so there's that. Again, next week, I'm really trying to get these guests going. Like, I know I said that last week, but I have 3-ish lined up for this. Tyler Fellow, Call of Duty professional. Sean Spaceman Rogers, the Rocket League commentator. What guests do I do? Well, I haven't done any. So, I just started this podcast last week. Last week was a solo cast as well. I just kind of talked about my mental health and like my physical journey. This week I was gonna talk to another photographer. His name is Justin Tolentino. He's from Illinois as well. Met him at the Belong Arenas. I don't stream too often. I used to be like a Call of Duty content creator when I used to stream like me playing games. I don't really play much anymore. I'm doing these podcasts every week, every Friday. I work a long warehouse job during the week. I'm off Fridays and Saturdays, so I will stream every Friday. If I have guests like crazy, I'm thinking about extending this to Saturday thing as well. So, because I do love doing this on my day off. I get to like talk, and if I get Syndicate, yeah, I'll reach out to Syndicate, bro. I want to because it's a mental health podcast, and that's what I'm really passionate about now. Less about esports, but that's where my connections are. So that's why it's kind of a mental health thing in esports. It's mental health in general, but esports is where my connections are, like from my years of photography and content creation. So that's kind of where my guests are lined up from. Again, Tyler Fellow, still Call of Duty professional. Sean Rogers, who does casting for Rocket League. And then my buddy Justin I just talked about. He's a photographer, videographer in the scene. So, but I would love for this podcast to grow, and then I could send the clips to people like Syndicate, let's just say, or Clayster or Scumpy, and have them on the cast. Like, that's like the goal. The reason I started this podcast, if you didn't watch my last week's episode, is because I've been really enjoying a podcast called On Purpose. It's by a guy named Jay Shetty, and he talks about mental health with athletes and doctors and like musicians, and like he talked to Kobe before he passed. I'm listening to a Dwayne Wade episode. He talked to Chris Paul, Dennis Rodman, Selena Gomez, Dax Shepard, just all these people, and like I just love his podcast, and like that's what I want to turn this into. I don't want to have, like, I have bullet points and I have a conversation I want to have with people, but I want it to be that. I want it to be a conversation. I want it to be two people talking, and just kind of flow off that with mental health and how they're doing, and just see if we can learn some stuff. Like, that's why I really want to talk to people like Clayster or like the older heads of esports. Even Scumpy, because I want to talk about retirement. I want to talk about like anything that's going on in their lives. I want to talk about that. Doug Sensor Martin. I don't know if any of you, I know you do, Chandler, or any of the Call of Duty people know, but Doug Sensor Martin is a guest I would kill to have on this damn show. I want to ask that motherfucker about fitness. I want to ask him about still going, even though everyone shits on him every day of his life about not being a good player. I want to talk to him about this pull-up challenge that he's doing. Like, he's doing this pull-up challenge. He wants to break like the pull-up record, and like he had a video when he first started this where his hands were just torn up, and like he was like crying into the camera. Like, he posted about that, and now he's still going, and he's like stronger than ever from it, like physically but mentally stronger too. I just want to talk to him about all that shit. There's so much I would ask Sensor, and he's also somebody that does a lot for younger people in the community. Like, I think he housed I think Sensor housed like Kremp and Dan Ghosty when they were coming up, and then the stuff he was doing for Snoopy, Snoopy's the new player, right, Chandler? I totally forgot. Snoopy, the new player on Boston. Like, he does so much for these new young kids that are getting into the scene, and I want to talk to him about that as well. Just being a big role model for them. Scump's 100% satisfied with his career. I was talking about Doug, if that's what you were at, if that's what you're referring to. But Scumpy is 100% satisfied with his career. He should be, at least, especially because he's set for life. He could do content the rest of his life if he wants to. He really could. And if he wants to coach, I'm sure anybody would drop their coach right now to pick up Scumpy. So that's 100% satisfied. But I'd love to ask him about, like, again, it's a mental health podcast. That's like the thing I want to talk about the most. But less about mental health, more self-care, more like life lessons, stuff like that. And again, I have certain questions I want to ask every guest on here, but I would love to ask them specifics, obviously. You know, if they have kids, like if I talk to Karma, hey, you know, I'd love to ask about being a dad, what that's like. Again, if they're a retired player, I'd talk to them about being retired, just all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Scump's doing a lot of streaming right now, and he's doing a lot of like advertised stuff, especially with Optic. Optic's always got like an advertisement stream every. I think they did an Overwatch stream yesterday that was advertised yesterday. So Scump's gonna be fine. Scump will be fine. In every event that Optic is competing at, he goes to as like a watch partier. So him and his breakdown, and they'll be fine. So yeah, and if he wants to do vlogs, he'll do vlogs. I don't think he'll vlog. I think he'll have someone do it for him, but he will. Not this style of vlog, but he will have somebody recording the rest of his life, whether it's his webcam or the Optic team's producers and staff. He's gonna have someone recording literally everything he does for the rest of his life. So, he's set, in my opinion. All right, fellas. Well, I'm gonna text my mother what she wants from this Chinese place, because it's Friday. We do Chinese takeout every Friday, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that right now, or order it. Let me see what she wants. But yeah, it's been a fun episode. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it was my last episode, my last stream last week, didn't really have anybody in chat, and it didn't do very well on YouTube, in like the VOD of it. And I didn't have a guest this week, so I really thought about just like axing the whole thing. I was like, you know what? Maybe this isn't my place. Maybe I shouldn't even have a stream, or talk about mental health, because hell, even I don't have it all figured out. But it was really nice to talk to Chandler and Alex, and hell, we got some viewers in here too that were just lurking as well. I could see the viewer count. So, so yeah, and yeah, dedication is perfection. That's for sure. Like, this isn't something I'm gonna make like my full-time thing. If it goes there, cool. Again, I have a solid warehouse job. I get paid very well. I have benefits. I have all this shit. I'm set right now. This is like a side project thing. It's something I'm passionate about. Mental health, seeing as how I had like episodes, and I know a lot about mental health and physical health. I've had crazy transformations. Again, if you haven't seen my first series or my first episode, Aces, it's on YouTube. You'll learn a lot more about my past, and it's more of a trauma dump episode, so if you're not into trauma dumping, don't really watch it, but it's kind of vast. It's kind of me just rambling about, like, kind of me rambling about my past and, like, how I got here, so. Used to be depressed, used to be 300 pounds. Now I'm not so depressed, and now I'm not 300 pounds, so that's the moral of the story if you don't need to watch it, so. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to really try to have a guest next week. If it's not one of those three that I mentioned, then I'll find somebody else. I'm going to have a guest next week. So, again, if somebody hits me up tonight, I'll do a stream tomorrow. But again, that's not guaranteed. I'm not going to reach out and be like, hey, right now, do it tomorrow. Syndicate. I can't get Syndicate, dude. If you can get Syndicate to come and get me, bro, I'll talk to his ass. Trust. But I'll try to get someone tomorrow. But again, just stay followed to the channel or follow me on Twitter. That's like the best place to get updated on what I'm going to do, when I'm going to do it, etc., etc. So I'm going to go ahead and order my Chinese. I'm going to go watch Friday Night SmackDown, some WWE, and enjoy the rest of my night. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. And if I don't talk to you guys tomorrow, the rest of your weekend, thank you so much for coming by. Hey, if I could leave you with something, just love somebody today. Love someone every day. Whether it's yourself or somebody else, just love somebody. So, thank you guys so much for showing up. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.